going to begin a unit called Understanding Others. Our first unit was about finding yourself during the first term. Finding yourself, we talked a lot about what it's like to be a teenager and how we go through these issues and what we can do to make teenage life better, and reading stories about teenagers and how they deal with their issues as a teenager. What we're going to talk about in this next unit is understanding others. So when we are faced with a situation when people are different than us, how do we go about understanding the situation? I'm sure most of you have come into a situation when you've dealt with someone different than you. We all have. Okay, does anyone have something from their life they would like to share about understanding others? An instance where you were confronted with someone you don't know, or someone that was very different from you, and you had an experience. Mr. Kareem.
I was at the work of my dad. There was the kid of someone who was working. So we went to pick some computers. So I think that we went to be able to explain. I would not say there's difference between us.
What was the difference, Kareem?
His dad he works in our company, so it's not as rich as we are. It's not from the same that we were.
Okay, so it's not from the same class.
Yeah.
And then, so this was a new experience for you. It was a little awkward. Okay. What do you think you learned from the experience?
She didn't stop them. Because they're people. Because they're richer than them.
Okay, so you maybe should try and make them feel comfortable. Okay, you shouldn't put them down in any way. Everyone's just pretty much the same, right, when it comes down to it. Rich, poor, black, white, brown, everyone's human, right? And there's a common humanity in all of us that you can see when you're talking to anyone, even if they don't speak the same language. Is there any other experiences any one of you guys have had that you'd like to share? Omar.
There's some kid in my neighborhood. He doesn't have a place to stay. He's homeless, and I let him go to my house and he does stuff. And once, I don't know if you know Gary and other people. Yes, they came to my house and he was there, and we had that.
Okay, so it was an experience with someone who didn't have a home, and he came to your house. What do you think you learned from that experience, Omar?
That even if he's homeless, that doesn't mean he's not. Not all homeless people are like different than you. You have lots of things.
And not all homeless people, it's not always their fault, right? It's not like they're not trying to have a home or they're not trying to have a job. Lots of people have had bad things happen to them, and they're not in control of these things. And sometimes people have bad luck or a bad set of circumstances. People die, they lose their job, and all of a sudden they don't have enough money for houses. It happens every day, all over the world. People get forced out of their houses and they're out on the streets. All right? And these are people that are different. Has anyone ever met someone from a different country? Maybe they didn't speak or they spoke a different language, and yet they were able to communicate or become friends. Tatiana.
When I went to camp in Switzerland,
Okay, what happened?
I met some Russian girls, and they were really mean at first, but then we worked it out.
So you got to know them a little bit better, and you became friends. How did that make you feel?
It was good.
Yeah. Easier than being friends with a Lebanese friend?
No.
So, but it's more rewarding, right? Maybe now you have a Russian friend, and it's a unique friendship. Faisal, did you have something similar to that?
Okay, I went to Sri Lanka once. And because me and my family wanted to visit there, and the family of my maid, our helper in the house, they were very, very generous with us, and I became friends with her son and her cousin.
Okay, so very nice. You went to visit your mate's family back in Sri Lanka. It's a beautiful country there.
Yes. It's better than here.
Really? You're wondering why they want to come to Lebanon? Alright, so again, these are challenging experiences, but rewarding ones in the end, right? They might be a little bit difficult at first, and you might have that awkward feeling, but in the end, they're going to be a more rewarding experience. The story we're going to read from our book, Santa Claus in Baghdad, deals with these themes, where two girls are very different, but they become friends. The way we are going to read it this time is we are going to practice a technique called active reading. Active reading is when you are reading the book silently, but you're actively taking notes and writing down questions that will help you understand the book. While you are reading, I would like you to take notes in your book of these 3 different things, and then we will make a journal entry on a sheet of paper including all of this information. I want you to use quotes from the text. A quote from the text is a passage from the story that helps explain what is happening in the story. Okay? It's significant. Okay? It reveals something important about the story. So it's a direct quote. You're copying it word for word, and then you're writing a comment or reflection about it. A reflection means explaining why you think this is an important quote. You need to do this 2 times. You need 2 quotes and 2 comments and reflections. Okay? Or reflections. The second category is questions. You want to write down 2 questions that you have about the story. What do you think, or what don't you know about the story? Or maybe you read something and it makes you wonder a little bit. We want you to write down 2 things that make you wonder. And write down possible answers. Okay? Possible answers to those questions you read. Observations. Right? Observations are things you observe while you are reading. Important things. Alright, these are your own thoughts projected onto the novel. What do you think about this story? It's an observation. Like a scientist makes an observation about his experiment, you are a reader making an observation about your story. Why do you think this is significant? Significant is a synonym for important. It means a similar meaning. Okay? Why do you think this observation is important to the story, to the theme, to a character? Okay. You need 2 observations from the story. 6 total entries into your journal. When we are doing this, I would like you to read through the story until you finish. Take notes. You can use sticky notes and put it in the book if you'd like, and mark. You could use a highlighter pen and highlight important parts of the story you want to add to your journal. When you are finished reading the story completely, then I want you to take out a sheet of paper and add these 6 things into your journal. Okay? But I want you to finish the story first. Are there any questions? Green. Okay, again, an observation is something I am observing about the novel. It's something you think is important. Let me show you an example from the previous story we read. Okay? Remember, in Hand of Fatima, the previous story we read in the book Santa Claus in Baghdad, an observation might be something like, Maya seems to expect people to do everything for her, like cleaning her room. Okay? So it's not always it's not something that's exactly in the novel. It's an observation that you're making about a character. Okay? So maybe you can see a pattern in the novel and you make an observation about it. And then why you thought this was important. She doesn't seem very responsible. Okay? So you see that she doesn't take care of herself very well. Well, that means she's not a very responsible person. So it could be about a character, a theme, it could be about the setting. Alright? These are all examples that we have from Hand of Fatima. Okay? If you have any questions, I'll leave this up there and maybe that will give you ideas. Alright, are there any questions about what we need to be doing? Sure.
And the mentor that can be like a comparison to our life.
Sure. Yes. I think that's an effective way. Okay, when we're all finished doing the double entry journal and reading the story, we're going to have a class discussion where we share some of our ideas from this. Okay? So you have the rest of the period to read silently and then begin working on your journal. Okay? Please have a highlighter or sticky notes out or a colored pen to take notes with while you are reading.